Good afternoon, everybody. Welcome along to the Autodromo Internazionale di Monza. My Italian accent, I understand, is not brilliant. However, we are in the Temple of Speed, as we've grown to learn and to love. My name is Casper. Welcome along to PGS Round 4, here at their Season 6. This is Round 4 of 11, so we are sort of hitting the third of the way through the season. We unfortunately only have 8 drivers tonight, but we do have a Porsche. We've got an Apex. We've got a Garuda. We've got a good mix of teams tonight. Who's that that's just come out of the pits? I do believe that is Mute Mirror. But the past couple of rounds hasn't really been doing too well. In comparison to someone like James Petty, his teammate, who has, well, he's been really wringing the performance out of that Porsche. As these guys are coming out on outlaps. It's also worth mentioning, can we see, yeah, so, because this is like an incredibly realistic league, these guys do have their own sort of, developments and actual teams. So you can see the tech levels on the screen now. So theoretically, you'd be thinking that Coro Outbreak would have the advantage along with HBE for the Apexes and Mute Mirror in the Porsche. However, that is all to be done, well, to be found out by the end of qualifying in a half-distance race. We've gone with HBE. Man who won last time out in Qatar. Absolutely dominated the sprint. Did very well in the main race as well, despite it being shortened. As he comes up towards what was the parabolic, is now the curve at Alboreto. Round the final corner. Let's go on for a lap with the championship leader, I believe now, as well, as he takes as much of a line as he can through, across the timing line, which is just as you come into the pit lane, and it is breaking in for the Rettifilio chicane. We all know very well that a lot of chaos and carnage can happen through turn 1 and 2, especially on the first lap. Round Curva Grande, you're flat through here. No one really lifts through there. If you do, it's concerning considering the amount of downforce these have, even on a low setup, which is what you need through here. Della Roggia at 405 managed very well into Lesmo 1, the faster of the two, and then braking just past the 50 for the second. And then it's a run down this long back straight. DRS also used here, up to Ascari through 8, 9 and 10. About a 5th gear chicane, still pretty high speed. And again, back on the power, you spend a lot of time on power. It's fastest circuit of the lot, as here goes HBE. Mute Mirror's got 23.3, but here comes HBE. This is really going to be the benchmark, and it is. It's a 20.8. That is some benchmark, I tell you what. In fact, James Petty is coming up to the line through Curva Alboreto. Out over the timing line. It's not an improvement. Puts him third of 3. It's a 24.7 for, I believe that is the Porsche. As he breaks in towards the Rettifilio chicane for another go, but I think he's just going to come into the pits. Here comes Coro Outbreak. Through the Rettifilio. No, that's the Della Roggia, that's the one. Bit wide through that first Lesmo. Into the second, good run through there. DRS wide open. And then it is under the bridge, under the old banking, as it were, because of course this circuit used to be a mixture of what it is now, along with an extra oval banking loop, making it one of the longer circuits that has ever been on the calendar. Possibly behind something like Pescara, which I believe was something insane, like 25 kilometers. And of course behind the Nürburgring, because F1 actually did used to race there as well. Coro Outbreak goes seconds to 22.0, so he sandwiched himself nicely between the Apex and the Porsche does the Pagani. James Petty in fact improves his time, so it's a 20.8. We've got a fight on our hands, at least for now, for pole position. And here come Darren, and that is Twisted Goat as well. With 12 minutes left of this short qualifying session. Got lap times being set, well, pretty evenly. We do have the Garuda of Luigi Sven and I believe that's the Lotus of Dave. They usually set their laps, they only go for one stab at it. Unusual line into the Rettifilio. Bad run through turn 2 there. That's going to affect his run through Curva Grande. We'll see what sort of time he can put through that first sector, but that wasn't exactly an optimal run through there. Carried a tad bit too much speed. And then he had to climb it back to the apex, but, you know, it's the fastest first sector. So we'll see what happens through Lesmo 1. Actually, let's turn the telemetry off. I said let's turn the telemetry off, thank you. Through the second Lesmo, oof, almost getting hit with track limits, taking it very well in that respect. Yellow flags through that first chicane. Remember, you do get that extra runoff, but it's a horrible thing to drive through that runoff. Here he goes through Ascari. 1,000 horsepower being let loose into Curva Alboreto. Round the final corner. Good run through there, taking as much space as he can. Twisted Goat goes 4th place. This is 22.1. Not quite enough for a front row, but puts him in 4th of 5 times. Here comes his teammate, Darren TG1. Across the line. Where's this going to put him? That puts him 4th. So he's knocked his teammate down to the 3rd row by virtue of, that's about 0.6 of a second, I believe. So it's not too bad of a lap from Darren. Outbreak's not completing a lap, neither is Twisted Goat. Mute Mirror is out on another lap, heading in through the Della Roggia. You can see the sausage curves, which are absolutely brutal. Just in general, not just on these cars. There was an incident last year in the World Endurance Championship. You may have seen it because it was quite well publicised, with a GT car hitting those sausage curbs, absolutely wrecking the car. Thankfully, the driver was okay, but, you know, it's not the first time that sausage curbs have caused major damage to not just car, but also to person. As Mute Mirror is starting a lap. Neither of the Darren or Twisted Goat teammates are starting, but HBE is out on another run, trying to reclaim his provisional pole position with exactly 9 minutes left to run. Pardon me. In fact, just under now. Let's jump on with... Is Twisted Goat going for another lap? Quite possibly. Let's go on board with the Goat. See if he can complete his way further up the field. He's 0.6 up on his personal best. If he keeps it up, we're looking at possibly a top 2 time. Certainly fighting up there with the Porsche and the Apex Racing. You may be wondering, why am I not saying, oh, this is a McLaren, oh, this is a Red Bull? No, these guys have got custom teams. So it is all open to interpretation. Not an improvement through that second sector, and he's invalidated it through Ascari. But if he kept that up, that would have probably put him on that second row. As here comes the Porsche of Mute Mirror. Currently his best time is a 23.3. Doesn't look to be improving. In fact, it is, but not by enough for a position. It's 0.4 of a second. As we can see, Luigi Sven coming out for a lap. As here comes HBE, 0.3 up after 2 sectors. What can he do after 3? It is a 20.2. That is half a second, just over. Better than James Petty. It is advantage apex heading into this final half of qualifying. In fact, let's have a look at the Garuda coming through Curva Grande. It's the fastest first sector, so tyres are being rubbered in. These guys are learning the track. The grip is there, so lap times are going to tumble as he heads around Lesmo 1. Not taking too much curb on exit, but taking a good bit through that second one. It's a fast blast down and then back up the hill. It's the fastest middle sector as well, theoretically at least anyway. Not a bad run there through Ascari, taking, you know, a decent bit of curb, but not enough to trigger the limits. As he heads into Curva Alboreto to finish off what could be an absolutely stellar lap. I tell you what, if he can keep it up, I don't think he's going to get pole position, but a second row? No, not quite a third row, so 21.5, so he's just under half a tenth between Darren, splits his teammate Twisted Goat as well. We've got Elite Dave in the Lotus also now coming out on a lap. Let's look at Coro Outbreak. First sector is a 10th up. See if he can push himself up towards that front row. Which, well, for Pagani would actually be really useful because it's not looking too good for them at the moment, as far as I can see. If I can get the championship standings. Standings. Here we are. After round 3, in terms of teams, Pagani are currently only in 6th. Is that 6th place? Yeah, 6th place with 18 points. And in fact, Coro does get himself on that front row, so 20.7. So he puts James Petty down a peg. As we jump down towards Darren TG1. Running wide there on Ascari, invalidating his lap, unfortunately. Meat Mirrors just started Elite Dave. What sort of time can he put in? It's a 26.9. That's decent time. Could easily be better. But could easily be much worse. Going through De La Roja, through the Lesmos. One of only a few corners on this. Whoa! Didn't know we were going to go rallying, and in fact, Mute Mirror's gone with him. I tell you what, Mute Mirror invalidated his lap. No, so he could theoretically keep going. Is he going to keep going? Not an improvement at the moment. Let's see what he can do through this final sector. Well, he can invalidate his lap, certainly, going through Ascari. Goodness me, some brilliant car control there from Dave, currently 2nd place in the standings. Goodness me, what a save. Through the De La Roja, and it's got to be a good time. He's, woof. That back end is slipping and sliding like a madman, and he's gone into Parc Ferme. He's not going to be happy with that car. He's retired. I don't blame him at all. That car looked about as stable as a man on a unicycle. Twisted Goat's just invalidated his lap as well. Darren TG1 currently a 1/3 of a second up after DOS sectors. Here they go round the final corner. He's coming into the pits as well. What does James Petty do? Not an improvement. So we've got 3 minutes left of qualifying in this session. And I wonder now, is the rain coming down? Because there was a theoretical 20% chance of it raining. And is it raining? It might just be, you know. I'm not sure if I can tell, but it could be. Let's see if this camera angle provides any clarity on that aspect. In fact, James Petty's going for another lap. And so is Coro. On soft, so I don't think it's raining. That's just me with my glasses. Let's see what some of these guys can do. Twisted Goat, 7/10 up on his personal best. That is quite some run through the first sector. I need to turn off my watch because I'm getting so many notifications. It is absolutely insane. Through the second Lesbo. And the second sector hits just as we go into Ascari. See what sort of time there is. It's 9/10. I tell you what, this could push for second row for Athletic. This could be a really good run for Athletic Motorsports, which are in 7th place at the moment. Only 8 points to their name. There goes the back end for Twisted Goes. He's coming across the line now. He's got one more lap. And it is a second row. It's an Athletic 3-4. But it is an Apex and a Pagani on the front row. James Petty starting his final lap. See what Coro Outbreak can do. He's down on his first sector and he's running absolutely wide, destroying the track. I think he's going to try and set another lap, but I don't think he's going to get to the line in time. This is going to be interesting. See how he goes through Ascari. I don't think he's going to get through in time, but we'll see. That is certainly unconventional. Goodness me. You know what? I think he might just, it's going to be tight. No, he's just going to miss it. He's just missed it. He's just missed it. Second is the best that he can hope for. And so really, at the moment, the only real challenger to pole position is James Petty, and he's not really on an improvement. He needs to pull something right out of the bag for this final sector, which I don't think he's done. No. In fact, he stuffed it. James Petty on the second row, alongside Twisted Goat, who's just gone into the pit lane. There goes HBE, improving yet again. As here comes Darren TG1, trying to get on that second row. Is he going to displace his teammate? Is he? No, he's not. He's improving his time, but not by enough. So, your qualifying results on screen. HBE ahead of Coro Outbreak, ahead of James Petty, ahead of Twisted Goat. 4 different teams in the top 4. This could be good. I tell you what. So again, qualifying results on the screen. Darren TG1 really wringing the most out of that Athletic. It's arguably the lowest rated of the cars on the grid tonight with 163. Currently in 5th place. Only 1.1 seconds down on HBE, who's been pretty damn dominant this season. In fact, I think, yeah, he is absolutely carrying Apex Racing in the team because he's the only person that's actually scored for them. And they are still in 1st place anyway. And it's Coro Outbreak for Pagani on the second row. And do remember also that qualifying does net you points. So it is 3 points for first, 2 points for second, and 1 point for third place. So a couple of crucial points really were picked up by the drivers. Let's see if actually that makes any changes to the standings. Might need a refresh on who was third place. James Petty. So Petty's going to get 1 point. That keeps him in fourth place. Coro Outbreak. He's already got himself on. Well, just off that, he's got himself on the points with 2. So his points total so far this season is 2. And HB, he has, well, increased his lead to, I want to say, 41? I think, if my math serves me right, his points are currently at 41 ahead of Dave, which means regardless of what happens, he will come out of this race still leading, as these guys are heading into the next event in 7 days' time, which is going to be in Barcelona, right on the coast of Spain, not far from the village of Montmello. It is also worth mentioning that, just because of the amount of drivers that we've got in the race tonight, last 3 places are not going to score. So it is only top 5 which is going to actually score points, which does add a little bit of extra jeopardy, as it were, because you can't just potter around the track trying to just finish. No, you've got to fight for your positions further up the field, which for some drivers is going to be easier than others, purely because, again, you've got the tech level implications that do affect the drivers. Welcome along if you're joining us. This is FSC Season 6, episode? Round 4. We're currently waiting for these guys just to get ready and be done with all of their streams. As we hopefully get ready within a couple of minutes. If you've got any questions or anything like that, please do let us know. Either drop it in chat or send it our way. We'll be happy to help, happy to oblige, as it were. As we just get ready. I'm not sure if there's going to be a formation lap or not. But just be ready and be on the lookout. I think I can actually check tyres as well in the race director. Most on mediums, but there are a couple of soft runners, that of HBE and that of Twisted Goat, which is interesting, all things considered. I did not expect those guys to be running on the soft, purely because they're still going to have some pace advantage anyway over certain drivers. I expected a couple of people lower down in the field to do that. However, first and fourth, you know, we've seen alternate strategies work many a time, not just in real life F1, but in simulation F1. It's worked a treat, and in fact, we do have the formation laps. So let's watch these guys take their laps, and in fact, Twisted Goat doesn't go for that soft tyre. He's stayed with the medium, so the only person on the soft is HBE, which is certainly interesting for the Apex Racing man. He doesn't really need to be pushing too much, because he is going to be coming out of this race still in the lead of the championship, regardless of what happens. However, it does, you know, crank up the jeopardy a little bit. One person on an alternate strategy. does change things. Overtaking opportunities, wherever you want in this circuit, really. The most common ones are turn 1, turn into the first chicane and into the second. However, you know, you've got plenty of space down here as these guys head into the Ascari chicane. The speedy left, right and left. And you can easily just overtake into Parabolica. Curva Alboreto, whatever you want to call it, as well. Although it is considerably more difficult, but not impossible. Got 8 drivers tonight. We have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 different teams out of the 9 that we have in this series represented, but only 5 of them maximum are going to pick up points as they head around the Curva Alboreto on this formation lap to start 27 laps of the greatest Italian song that you would have heard. Italy, of course, one of the modern homes of motor racing. You've got so many different car manufacturers, including Pagani, which is on the grid here with us at FSC. As these guys get set to go. I need to see the lights. See them there. There's 5 lights ahead of the drivers. And we're away here at FSC. It's a good start for HBE. It's not a good start for Coro Outbreak. There goes James Petty as these guys go side by side. It's James Petty in the slipstream trying to get into the lead. He's not going to be able to. There goes Coro Outbreak up the inside into the first corner, and it's side by side. Ooh, contact there with the Pagani and the Porsche. In fact, they are too wide as they head through the Curva Grande. Well, just before the Curva Grande, and Coro Outbreak has fallen back into the slipstream. Outside, inside, how do you like? He goes to the inside, but it's going to be the outside into turn 4. Is he going to make the move? He's gone round to the outside, clattered the curbs. He's probably going to have to give that position back. But we'll see. And with that, HB has got 1.5 second gap after 6 corners. With all that fighting, there's some battles further back. That is Darren TG for Athletic Motorsports going a bit wide. And in fact, he's going to be gaining a position on his teammate as they head into Ascari for the first time under full green conditions. There's a little bit of a scruff here still for second place. And those soft tyres really working for treat for HBE. As, ooh, calm as you like there for James Petty. Doesn't go for the move. He goes for a slightly wider line, carry a bit more speed. But there's a cracking battle going on here that is for 5th place. Oh, goodness me. There goes Mute Mirror trying to go to the right side. Elite Dave isn't too far behind. There goes Mute Mirror alongside. Oh, you're going to get 3 wide. Almost. Mute Mirror dive bomb on Luigi as well. He's going to go around the outside of the Rettifilio. He's been forced off track. And there goes Dave alongside with Twisted Goat as these guys head down the Curva Grande. And that is some brilliant fighting here at FSC. And in fact, there goes, that is Dave on Luigi, tries to go for it into the Della Roggia, but discretion's the better part of Valor, doesn't go for it. There's a change in second place, James Petty getting ahead of Coro. Remember, DRS is open for the next lap, but it's not really as strong as it is in most other circuits, simply because of the fact that you don't have much drag on this track anyway. So the drag reduction system doesn't really reduce much drag, as it were. Let's jump back to this fight for 7th. Is Twisted Goat going to go for it up the inside into Curva Alboreto? Dave sees it going. Dave's back end goes sideways and he makes the move. So that is Twisted Goat, possibly with contact on Elite Dave. That is for 6th place. He's chasing after Luigi. And in fact, there goes Coro Outbreak back on James Petty. Oh, clatters the curbs there, but he's going to stay in 2nd place, retain the position. As we go on board with the Porsche, heading through Curva Grande. Is he going to get close enough? I don't think he will. He gets to stay in third place, at least for now. He's probably going to be able to make a move soon. Heading into the Lesmos for the third time in this race. Remember, only top 5 get points. So currently HBE and these pair, Coro Outbreak and James Petty, Darren TG1 and Luigi Sven would pick up points. But there goes James Petty using DRS. Again, it's not very effective, but you can still make a move with it. There he is into Ascari, and he's already got a quarter of a second gap as he heads into the 3-turn chicane. HBE, you can see him. He's already cleared off into the background. Here goes Coro Outbreak heading into Curva Alboreto alongside. It is too wide. Too wide through here is difficult, but not impossible. There's a bit of banking that's going to help James Petty explode with the speed that he needs. Who's going to have the DRS now, I wonder? I think it is Coro Outbreak with the DRS, or is it? As they head into the Rettifilio chicane. Oh, you could probably put a piece of pasta in between these guys, and yet they're still close as you like. There's still some very close battles further back, but these guys are the closest. Some cracking racing being provided here at FSC. Not very much of a gap between these drivers. You can very easily pounce with a poor exit out of any of these corners, as it were, even through the Lesmos, through the chicanes, through Parabolica. One mistake, and because of how much time you spend on full throttle, you can't really afford to, as here is a battle for 3 cars for 4th place, with the 2 Athletics and the Garuda, that is, sandwiched in between, of Luigi Sven. Here he comes. Is he going to be able to close up on the Athletic? Is he going to go for it? Oh, would have been a very brave move, but a poor exit there for Darren. Not the optimal line as they head down the front stretch. Start lap 5 of 27. That is Luigi ahead of Darren. What can Twisted Goat do? As these guys go almost 3 wide. There goes Twisted Goat on Darren. Is he going to go for it on Luigi? Ooh, clatters the curb on the inside of the first corner, but he's had to stay in 5th place. So it is, at least for this battle, Luigi ahead of Twisted, ahead of Darren, ahead of Elite Dave. Worth also noting that Mute Mirror is quite a way back, as here goes Twisted Goat round the outside of the first corner of the Del Roggia. That's a brave move, but the inside of that second apex doesn't do him any favours. The Athletics collide. That is going to be detrimental, possibly cause some damage, as they head out of the Lesmos to continue what has, well, almost been a lap-long battle pretty much. Flashing through under the banking, heading into the Ascari chicane, cuts the curbs, cuts the corner even, I think. That probably would have been a track limits violation, as they blast it down towards Curva Alboreto. Believe it or not, we're only 5 laps in. I'd love to have another 50 if I could, but I've only got another 22. As there's a massive train of cars. Also worth looking at this battle for 3rd and 2nd. There's James Petty. He's going to go for it inside of Rettifilio. No contact there. Forces him a little bit deep. Does James Petty, but Coro Outbreak keeps 2nd place. Twisted Goat has got ahead of Luigi Sven for 4th place, as here he goes. Is he going to try and go around the outside of Curva Grande? He's trying, but hasn't really got the speed or the grip to make it work. We've seen it work before, but not right then. Oh. Lap 6 of 27. HB is 7.4 seconds clear ahead of everyone else, but we've got 2 battles raging for 2nd and for 4th place, including this, well, pretty stellar 4-car battle, providing a lot of the action tonight. And these guys head up the hill. Here goes Luigi into Ascari. Not quite. He stays in 5th place. These guys head up towards the Curva Alboreto. For the 7th time in this race, we're going to have an ad break in a couple of seconds. As these guys head down the front stretch, heading into turn 1 for the 7th time even in this race. There goes Luigi. Is he going to go for a move into the Rettifilia? He's got the inside, but can he make the move stick? We'll find out shortly. No, he can't. And in fact, he's going to have to stay in 5th place as he heads around the outside. Is he going to go for it into the Della Roggia? It's a brave move to do. We've seen it attempted by multiple drivers tonight, but no. A little bit too much speed there, carried by Twisted Goat. Lets him keep the speed. So he stays in 5th place. But it's a pretty stellar battle, I'll tell you what, between these guys. It's absolutely gorgeous. Dave's not far off this as well. Remember, these guys are battling for what is, for this race, effectively the bottom 2 point scoring positions, because only the top 5 are going to score. So it does seem a given that someone like HBE, Caro Outbreak, James Petty are going to have the points. But what about this battle for 4th place? Only 2 of these are really going to have the points. And these guys head round Curva Alboreto. That is a 3-second time penalty for Mute Mirror. As here comes Dave on Darren. The 2 Ds are fighting, and then there's 2 ahead of them as well. So both the athletics are in a fight. Darren goes deep into turn 1, and both athletics have lost positions as they head around the Curva Grande. Let's look back at the battle for 5th place. Is Twisted Goat going to try and hang it around the outside? No, 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 no. Heads back into the racing line and stays right where he is. Heading into the 2nd Lesmo. We're only a third of the way through, and we've already got 2 time penalties. One for Mute Mirror and one for Twisted Goat. Both for track limit penalties, unfortunately. Yellow's in the 2nd sector. That is, I believe, for Mute Mirror. And that is a spin there for Mute Mirror as he tries to rejoin the track. Unfortunate there for the Porsche. As these guys head down the front stretch for the 9th time in this race. Welcome back if you've just come back from the ad break, as these guys head down side by side into turn 1. It's a brilliant battle here that's been raging as they go side by side. Poor exit there for Twisted Goat, and that's put Dave right on his back as they head around Curva Grande. 1, 2, 3, 4, 4,000 horsepower flashing right past your eyes. Dave's going to go up the inside into the Curva Grande. Is he going to make 2 moves on one? He stays with one, not with the other. So Dave is up into 5th place, into the point scoring positions as they head through the first of the 2 Lesmos. So Athletic currently out of the points. However, these guys have constantly been fighting, so I would not be surprised if they get back. That is James Petty ahead of Coro Outbreak. And that is for 2nd place on the podium. And in fact, it's going to be even more difficult for Coro Outbreak to make a move because he's just cut the corner and got a track limits penalty. That was a very unusual way of taking Ascari. He must have had a bit of a problem under braking, as HB has just started lap 10 of 27. Just going to jump back to this battle for 4th place that is, well, constantly raging. Darren taking a tighter line through Curva Alboreto, and we've got our first pit caller of the race. That is Twisted Goat heading into the pit lane. There goes Darren. What's Darren going to do? Coro Outbreak's got back ahead of James Petty, and he's got another 3-second time penalty for corner cutting. Now that is certainly interesting. as these guys go side by side. That is Luigi and Dave. Dave hanging it around the outside of the Curva Grande. Brilliant move for the Lotus. Heading into turn 4. Bit of a back-end squabble from the green car ahead of us. Let's see what tyres has Twisted Goat got. He's got the hard, so is he going to try one stop? Yale's in the first sector. That is Mute Mirror retiring, unfortunately, in the pits. So only 2 of the current drivers remaining aren't going to score points. And currently, unfortunately for Athletic, it's both of their pair. Should the checkered flag fly now, but a good run there for Darren through Ascari. Could be lining up a move into the Retofilio chicane at turns 1 and 2. This could be not optimistic, a good opportunity. That's the word I was looking for. Tighter line from Luigi down the through the Parabolica. As they head down the front stretch, Yale's in the first sector. I think that is for the car of Mute Mirror, unfortunately, as these guys head through. That is a move for Luigi Sven ahead of Elite Dave. Decent run out of traction there for the Garuda, and in fact we go on board with Elite Dave. Is he going to be able to, well, A, keep in touch with Luigi, but B, is he going to be able to stay in 5th ahead of Dave? Because again, he is, in terms of points, right on the bubble. Because otherwise he would not be able to pick up any points, which for him, considering that he is right on the back, well, not right on the back, but very close to the back of HBE in the championship, is exactly what he needs there. In fact, speaking of, commentator's curse, unfortunately, there's Darren ahead of Dave. Darren in 5th place. He's able to pick up some points for the Athletic outfit. We go back on board with Elite Dave, heading down the backs, one of many back straights around this circuit. Heading through the Parabolica, and in fact we've got our second pit caller. Alright, so what does Dave do, and where does he come out in relation to Twisted Goat now? I wonder. It's going to be very important to see where he comes out on this. Mediums, hards, softs. Interesting strategy. HBE does seem to be able to run those softs for quite some time. We go on board with Twisted Goat, and in fact that is Dave right there. He's going to have the speed heading into turn 1, but what is the gap between the Athletic and the Lotus? Not very much, I tell you what. He may have made the move, but not by, you know, as wide of a margin as I would imagine he'd have hoped. However, trying to recover on new tyres is going to be difficult. A move from Darren. I'm not sure if Luigi went possibly wide or something like that, but he's lost 1.5 seconds to the man ahead of him. That is Darren. We'll jump back to the second place battle. We've not seen this one in a while. James Petty has stayed ahead of Coro Outbreak, as these guys are going to... Oh, well, we could see them peel into the pits any minute now. Neither of them. In fact, they're going to go too wide, heading down the front stretch. The Pagani is hearing the crowds, the Italian crowds, loving this. Heading into turn 1. Ooh, contact there! That is contact from James Petty, pushing Coro Outbreak into a spin. And that is certainly going to be an investigation for later. I'd love to say I've got an action replay, but unfortunately I don't. But it did look like James Petty managed to hit the back of Coro Outbreak, which led to, well, what we just saw. Spin through the Della Roggia. And the unfortunate fact that now Luigi Sven is right on his tail. And to be fair, if he were to pit now as well, he'd be right in the middle of that 5-car battle for what would be 3rd place. As he's all close as you like heading in through into Ascari on board, and that is Luigi's friend blasting past the Pagani. He's not he is still alongside. In fact, the Pagani's taking a slightly wider line. He's going to go over under. That is a brilliant move for Coro Outbreak. That is some racecraft from the yellow Pagani. That is brilliant racing. Heading into the Retifilio, and wow, I'm shocked. That was a great move. Speaking of great moves, actually, let's see what these pair are doing. That is Darren getting ahead of Twisted Goat. Teammates at play here. That is for 5th, 6th, and 7th. Of course, Dave, again, would ideally want to be pushing himself up the track a little bit, but is currently unable to. As we go on board, that is side by side with the Athletics. They're not going to cause too much damage. They go back into formation. Twisted Goat back ahead of Darren TG1. And all the while, surprisingly enough, the gap between Dave and the second place Athletic, because obviously that's changed, has really stayed the same up until just now, because Darren TG1 looks to have made a mistake. And now Dave was briefly right on the back of him. But he's managed to catch right back up to the black Athletics ahead of him. As we have a new leader, that is James Petty back, well, not back in the lead, after a HBE pit stop. And I tell you what, the top guys aren't very far ahead of HBE, and he's got fresh medium tyres. They are going to have to pit at some point relatively soon, so it is unfortunate for the Pagani, but for the Pagani, the Garuda and the Porsche, they're all going to have to pit. Now the big question is, of course, what do they do? What does Darren do? Tries to make a move on Elite Dave, but picks up a 3-second time penalty instead. So that's going to be 3 seconds added to the end of the race. Along for Twisted Goat with 3, and Coro Outbreak's got 6 seconds worth of penalty. So you'd imagine that is near enough. The Della Roggia, and Luigi Sven is great. I tell you what, bloody hell. Mediums really working a treat, and in fact these guys are going to go too wide through. He is Luigi Sven stays in formation, so it is HBE ahead of Coro Outbreak, ahead of Luigi Sven. However, that is Twisted Goat dropping a couple of positions. That is James Petty picking up a good few. Whoa! Brave move heading into turn 1. That is 4th place, and we go on board with Dave. He's got the drive out of the Retifilio. Let's see. My apologies if I can't catch them all. Good evening, ladies and gents. Welcome back. There was a bit of a technical issue. However, we are back. Not sure what happened there. The message been dominating since, well, since, as it were, since lap 1. Yeah, because these guys use be out of the ordinary. Let's see if he can stay. Yellow's in the first sector. Who's that for? That is Twisted Go. Must have been maybe a spin from Dave or something. Or actually, no, that is Coro Outbreak. Who's had a bit of a problem. I'm not sure. Is that possibly a puncture or some other form of damage? Does look to be. See if the cameras are not helping, certainly. And there we are. We are back. Success. Apologies for the temporary issues in that stream. As we jump back up to the battle for second place. That is Dave retiring from the session. Is that pit lane? No, that is just down the side of the track. So that is, well, Dave's championship hopes are, well, not quite dead and buried, but pretty close to it. As Luigi Sven heads around Curva Grande, what can he do to try and get ahead of James Petty? He's got a couple of opportunities to get closer, but does he have the time, I wonder? Yell's in the third sector. That is going to be for Twisted Goat, letting HBE go, because I tell you what, he's been absolutely dominant. He's been absolutely dominant, and he's really pulled through tonight. So HBE wins the FSC race here at Monza. That is Twisted Goat in second place. Now, real last opportunity for Luigi Sven. Dump the battery, dump whatever the Garuda's got. Let it fly. Does he get it? No, he can't. He stays in second, well, in third even. And James Petty keeps second place unless it's a good drive, but the line's too close. Is it? Yes, it is. Oh, just over a tenth of a second of a gap between himself and James Petty. That is a brilliantly close margin. I'm not sure what Coro Outbreak's doing, but he's staying in 5th place. I think he's just having a little bit of a parade lap. I am so stupid. Wanted to go for a fastest lap and I let Hayden pass me for the win. Oh, yikes. That's not ideal. That is not ideal. But, you know, mistakes happen. Hopefully you learn from that one, mate. Also, might I add, welcome to International Paddock. First time chatter. Good man. As we're just waiting for possibly one of the slowest celebration laps that I've seen. In fact, I think that's HBE right in the background. He's probably going to want to pick up the pace. I am not the GOAT after all. Ah, come on, you're finished. And in fact, oh, look at that. He's gone into the pit lane. And he's picked up a 5-second penalty as well. That is brilliant. That is brilliant, that, I'll be honest. Good, how do I say it? Good stuff there from Coro. Drive of the day, Luigi. Considering some of the battling, I would... Yeah, I'd agree. There was some brilliant moves made by Luigi just throughout, and starting at the bottom, finishing in 3rd place, almost finishing in 2nd, mind you. That's not half bad there for the FSC owner, as it were. And there's your timing results on screen. Darren really pulling through that Athletic Motorsports into 4th place. Remember, only top 5 get points. So out of the finishers, really only Twisted Goat isn't going to be able to get points, which, unfortunate for Harry, might mean he has to change his gamer tag, but we'll see for next week. Thank you very much for tuning in. Be sure to tune in next week, where we have got the race in Spain in 7 days' time, and then we've got the Christmas break. So be sure to tune in for that. For other stuff with International Paddock, we've got ERC Masters on Sunday with what is bound to be chaos in Hungary. And also the Papa Champs finale is on Monday night at 8 PM. So be sure to stay tuned for the gamble in Vegas, as it were. But that is it from me. Stay safe, everybody, and we'll all see you soon. Bye-bye.